Hello, this is Dan Townsley, and welcome to another Furkot Pro Tips. Today we're going to discuss and show a quick way to include motorcycle vehicle use maps or motor vehicle use maps from the National Forest Service into our trip plan for a day ride up into the Paiute National Forest. So I want to make this really easy and quick. So we're going to start with a blank trip. And I know I want to start in Council, Idaho, getting gas. So I have a full tank to play with. And I'm going to start that as my start point. And then I'm pretty sure I want to have lunch in Wild Bill's. So that's going to be my end point for the day. And you'll notice that Furkot just automatically routed me the fastest way there on the highway. But that's not how I want to go. I want to take this route and drag it up here and go through the Paiute, something like that, and let Furkot reroute me up there. And then I want to start looking for MVUM legal roads that I can go explore up here in the Paiute. So what I'm going to do is zoom in on the map a little now so I can see what's going on. And now I'm going to go to Furkot's Find drawer. And that's where I'm going to access the National Forest Service's GIS database for motor vehicle use map data. So here I'm going to select the unpaved roads and off-road trails data feed in Furkot. And I'm going to take away the Jeep feeds and just do motorcycle feeds. And you'll notice the map filled up with a whole lot of potential exploration routes. These are all current legal MVUM roads or road sections. And if they're connected to a road section that doesn't show up in the MVUM, that just means that that road section is legal all the time. So let's see what looks interesting here. Let me zoom in on a couple of these, and I'm going to show you how to include them into your trip plan as what are called skipped routes. This means that I have the track saved into my trip plan, but it's not linked into my trip so that I have to go that way. It's basically just an added track that's going to show up in my exported GPX file. Yes, I can export GPX data out of Furkot, but I must have, and I'll show you this now, I must have a Furkot pass. And that's this little light bulb here, which says advanced use. Okay? A Furkot pass costs $14 a year, and it gives you access to all of the advanced features and data feeds into Furkot. It's a pretty small price to pay for access to an awful lot of data. The other feature here you see next to the advanced use is my mountains app. Again, this is another advanced feature. And what that allows me to show is when I select a track, I can see the elevation profile of that part of my route plan. Okay. So with that, let's go back to the Find drawer. And let's see how we add those MVUM legal roads into my plan. So I just tapped on one here because I think it looks pretty interesting. I might make a loop through here, depending on the weather and how things are going in the day. So I see it pops up. I can see what kind of a route it is. The calf pen trail is open to motorcycles, actually open to all vehicles. It's a high clearance road, which means it's probably not maintained very well. And it's obviously gravel and dirt. To include that in my plan, up at the top of the bar here for that data feed, it says stop, route, backtrack, and maybe. I don't want to do a route unless I actually want Furkot to route me through there in my trip plan. I don't want to backtrack because that just flips the direction of the route of that track. And I do want to do maybe. So when I click that, I'm adding this road or trail as a skipped stop, but it's actually going to include the whole route data. And what I want to do is I want to make sure that that actually did go into my plan, which it didn't. So I have to go back here and make sure I tap on that again. So I'm going to select that. I'm going to include that in my plan by making sure I tapped on it. And I'll know because when I look back on the map, that orange line now has a gray dash through it. That says it's added to my plan. You can check that by coming back to your plan, and you'll see that track in the plan. And again, I notice what direction it's going. That's an out, follow the arrows, which is fine. And when you export these in your GPX file, of course, when you put it into your nav app, whatever it is, your GPS, you can always reverse the direction of that track if you need to. So there's one. Let's go back and add a few more. So I think I'm going to add that one in there, see if I can create a loop here, which it looks like I can. I'm going to add that guy. Notice again the dashed line. I'm going to add this guy here. Whoops. One of the things you can do so that if you accidentally touch the map like I did and it jumps back to your plan drawer is you can actually, so you don't lose the MVUM data on the map, you can actually pin this data, like I just changed the pin at the top bar. You can pin that data so that when the find drawer closes, the MVUM data doesn't go away. Okay, so let's try again. Okay, I've selected that part of the MVUM data. Again, I can check the data, Huntley Gulch. And by the way, you see Huntley Gulch is highlighted in red. If I tap that, it'll take me out to the National Forest Service website that describes that road. So I'm not going to do that for sake of time. I'm going to add that into my plan. I'm going to add this next piece into my plan, which looks like it's almost going to connect me back up to my existing route, which is pretty cool. You can see now again the hash lines. And let's do one more take on that. Sorry. My fingers are fatter than I thought they were. And I'm going to, again, add that into my plan. So now I've got an extra loop of tracks that are going to be in my trip plan. And you can see the grayed out entries below. And if, for example, if I tap on one of those, it'll highlight it on the map. So there it is. Show me its elevation profile. And now what I want to do is, for this ride, I want to export this ride into a GPX file. So again, that requires me to have a Furkot pass, just so you don't forget. So I go up to the top of my trip plan, I select export trip. I have some defaults in my setup, but you'll want to tap GPS exchange format next, select the top standard GPX exchange format, unless you know you're exporting to one of these other options. Select next again. Make sure you select tracks. Make sure you select high resolution, and make sure you absolutely check skipped routes, because that's what all those other tracks are. Now when I export this, Furkot's going to give me the option to download it. It's the name of my trip plan, as you can see, Hell's Canyon Ride.gpx. I'm going to download that. I've downloaded it now to my iPad, and I'm going to open that file. Here it is in my Files app, and I'm going to share that with my navigation app, which is Guru Maps Pro. There it is in Guru Maps Pro, along with all of the track segments that I shared through MVUM. Okay, and of course in your app, you can probably change the colors like I can here. So for example, if I wanted to change, sorry about this, a little slow today. If I wanted to change any of the colors that I have up there, I simply would open it up, change the color. So that last little segment of Huntley Gulch is now red. I could change it to green, any colors I want. Of course, you can probably do that in your favorite app as well. So there you have it. I hope you enjoyed it. If you think you might want to use Furkot in the future, check out some of the other pro tips I have in this channel, and hopefully you'll find it useful.